Hello. Welcome back. I'm Darcy Bits. It's been a while. If you've been following the channel for a while, you may know that I played all of the MSQ of Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn on stream, starting from when you get airship access. I played the whole thing on stream, and it was slow and long, and probably no one was that interested. Honestly, if you want to check out those VODs, they are on YouTube, and I think they're pretty good, except they kind of had terrible export quality, and if you want to check them out, you should check the highlights on Twitch instead. So, yeah. But there's some cool stuff in there, right? And I think some of the most interesting stuff was when I was playing through cutscenes and doing voices and reacting to what weird things were going on in the plot. So, you know, if you want to, like, skim through that content and find the best stuff, if you know the game pretty well, you can probably jump to pretty close pretty quickly. But after Realm Reborn, I stopped playing. I was tired. I was burnt out. I didn't want to play anymore. And then a little while ago, about a year now, I think, a friend of mine started playing. But she was playing on a different data center, so I made a new character and I went through the entire MSQ again. But this time, well, I did take a few months hiatus, but this time I did continue into the post-ARR content. For some reason, between the end, like the credits roll for A Realm Reborn, and then there's like another 30 quests or something that you have to go through before Heavensward starts. So I've been playing this game for years, and I've never seen the start of Heavensward. I guess I play very slowly, and this is certainly not helping. But this time around, I'm gonna play through the Realm Reborn. I want to get to Heavensward. I want to see what that's like. People say it gets really good. I want to see what that game is. And I wasn't playing it on stream. Which is helpful. You know, lets me play it on my own time, not feel like I need to be presenting everything. But I got to this point, and the lady in waiting here says, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something. Come follow me." And then a system message shows up, and it says, "Hey, you're gonna want to set some time aside to do this. There's a lot of cutscenes." Okay. Awesome. Cool. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but we're gonna play through the cutscenes at the very end of A Realm Reborn. Well, so not even. The post A Realm Reborn content. So, before we go any further, this is Darcy C. Darcy. She is intended to be the Lalafell equivalent of my original character, Darcy Bois, who was a Hellsguard Rogadon. Because, you know, what's funnier than making the giant into a Lalafell? It's good. This time I went with White Mage instead of Arcanist? I ended up as a Scholar the first playthrough. And boy howdy did I notice, hey, isn't it nice being able to Q instantaneously because you're a healer. I had that real contrast between going from DPS to healer, so I knew when I only really wanted to blast through the story for the sake of hanging out with my friend, I was going to go White Mage. So here we are. Let's get started. Thank you for coming, madam. Her Grace is most eager to speak with you. If you require a moment to compose yourself before your audience, you may have it. Or if you are ready, it would be my honor to escort you to Her Grace's chambers forthwith. Upon proceeding to the Sultana's bedchamber, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to view these scenes in their entirety. Let's go.
Enter. Your Grace, your guest has arrived. Pray, come in and take your ease.
So I haven't really talked about what's going on. There's like a big banquet because we did something heroic. You know, par for the course. I mean, banquets aren't par for the course.
It is well that the steps of faith held against the Horde.
And what of the city proper?
We sustained some few losses, but the heart of our nation yet beats with vigor. I am not certain I could say the same had we not received your most generous aid.
An attack on Ishgard is an attack on the realm. We stand together or fall divided.
Such noble words after the fact.
Alphinaud's kind of bitter. He set up a whole defense thing and nobody came to help him.
I had hoped to speak in the presence of her grace, but it seems she has been delayed. That being the case, now would seem as good a time as any.
Well, kinda.
Honored friends, pray allow me to convey Ishgard's warmest gratitude for your part in the defense of our lands. 'Tis upon the success of this very alliance that my recommendation to throw open the gates of judgment shall be founded. With the blessing of the Archbishop, it is my hope that Ishgard will soon be reunited with her long-estranged sister nations, and that Eorzea shall once more be as one.
These are the Crystal Braves. They were like, sort of like a neutral
Very well.
grand company, kind of. That Alphinaud set up.
Is aught amiss?
Nothing to worry about. I shall return anon.
Of course you will.
You wished a word, Yu Yu Hase?
I thought they were gonna give him a voice. Like, it doesn't have a voice yet, I don't think. Nah, just cut away. Cut away. We don't need a new voice actor in here.
You may go. Your Grace.
I want her glasses. I want her whole outfit. It's great.
You must be curious as to the reason for this private audience. The matter I would discuss, however, will soon make apparent the need for discretion. I intend to abdicate the throne and dissolve the monarchy.
There was a cutscene about this, like, quite a few quests back, and I guess she just, like, didn't actually do it yet. She's like, I should do this thing! And then, like, months pass. I'm absolutely not surprised. It's
You have
amazing.
seen for yourself the storm of turmoil that howls through our streets. The government fails in its responsibilities, and my subjects suffer the consequences of our incompetence.
Does she have a higher chair because she's a Lalafell, but the game doesn't know if I am or not, so they always stick me in a low chair? I feel like... Or maybe it's just because she's like a important royalty person.
But I will see them suffer no longer. The victory feast shall provide the stage on which I declare the dissolution of the Sultanate. 'Tis mine intent that the ruling class of our golden city should take its place beside the common man in a fair and equitable republic. No more shall this nation bow to the whims of a privileged few.
Whims.
Yet, that which I propose will entail the tearing up of this city's very foundations. And even Roban, with all his strength and influence, will be hard-pressed to keep his footing on such treacherous ground. Thus would I ask you to lend him a steadying hand.
What?
You who have endured the wrath of innumerable foes are the one hero in whom I can place my trust. Will you do this thing for me?
What are you actually asking me to do? Of course, I just agree. Yeah.
I am truly grateful. More grateful than I can well express.
I mean, I can't hang out and rule a city. I gotta go out, do adventure-y things. I don't know what I just agreed
My
to.
dread for the coming days has been quieted.
You're gonna miss all this stuff, I can tell. She dead? She gonna die? I look so pleased. I will admit I didn't see that coming. Was it the Handmaiden? Because I was gonna say earlier, she's like maybe the coolest character that doesn't have a name, and maybe she'll actually become important and have a name. That would be awesome. I'm sorry, I didn't care about this character. She was not interesting or given enough screen time to be compelling.
Your Grace!
Wow, you really look like you killed her with that, like, incredibly put upon fake surprise. But, I mean, everyone looks that way when they're surprised, so it's hard to say.
Her Grace, the Sultana, is dead.
What do you think that she might be, like, unconscious? Like, it's like a Romeo and Juliet situation? That's my guess.
Poison in her wine? You did this!
Yeah, of course I did. It was me.
Spare us your denials. I see no other suspects, and the room has but the one entrance. I hereby accuse you of regicide. Men, arrest this viper.
You're like the most powerful person in the world and just have absolutely no agency or the ability to communicate.
Sir, barring a few exceptions, we have detained all those with allegiance to the Scions. The Rising Stones is also under our control.
What? I think Crystal Brave is all, like, corrupt and stuff. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. They were formed very quickly. We did not have enough time to, like...
what do you hope to achieve with this mutiny?
Why, that which we have striven for all along, Commander. The salvation of Eorzea.
They do get a voice. Cool. I feel like these scenes could be paced better. They don't, like, fade in and fade out. Like, use some cuts, you know? Yeah, like that.
What is the meaning of this?
No one's gonna believe I killed her. Like,
Knights from the homeland. This cannot bode well.
I have too much reputation.
Lord Commander, we have received an urgent message from the Holy See.
I fully believe I could get away with murder.
I am grieved to report that your serpentine foes have resumed their assault. Needless to say, your presence is urgently required. These knights have come to bear you swiftly home to Ishgard.
I wonder if that guy, like, recognizes these as knights, or if they just are like, your heraldry matches, it must be real.
A surprise attack.
We've had no such word from our men, and the timing is most fortuitous to catch us away from the city.
Most fortuitous indeed.
Lord Commander, we must away.
You have been a most gracious host. I hope that I might one day return the favor. Come, Lucia.
Such a weird, stilted set of cutscenes. Angry getting his flirt on. Probably.
Whatever is going on in there?
She was cute.
Ah, the ever-dutiful brass blades. I must apologize, but my dance card is rather full. Another time, perhaps?
Thancred, of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. You stand accused of committing acts of espionage in service to the Garlean Empire.
I mean, that's fair.
Espionage? What in the seven hells are you talking about?
Is it that time when I got possessed or something? I'm still not entirely sure the details of what happened then.
Ah, if you're referring to that business with the Ultima weapon, then you must understand. I wasn't myself.
Okay, they actually brought it up. Cool.
Under interrogation, an Imperial prisoner revealed your involvement in numerous dealings with the enemy. We've also been investigating reports that you are a practitioner of forbidden arts.
You learned how to pickpocket.
You best come along with us.
You invite me to your party and now you want me to leave? I do so detest receiving mixed signals.
So this guy's the, like, guy in your D&D party who's gonna fight every guard when they could have just walked 20 feet, had a conversation, and then left.
Come then. I believe I've lost my appetite for this farce of a celebration.
Whereas the Word of Light, no, you don't get that option.
go too far, Lord Adeleji. By what right do you march armed soldiers into a royal banquet and eject state visitors without her grace's consent? You treat the brass blades as your personal army and show contempt for the throne with your every act. Leave us now.
Is that an order, General? Mayhap you have mistaken me for one of your flames. You will find I am not so slavishly obedient. As you lecture me on personal armies. As for your outrageous claim that I have shown contempt for the throne, let all here observe that it was not I who feasted while an assassin removed its occupant.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point, right? You walk in and you're like, it must have been you! But, like, also nobody... You didn't, like, bring any witnesses, really? Like, no one was there to see you accuse me of being an assassin? So, like, it's just as likely it was you. I mean, obviously it was him, but, like, even like, that story just does not stand up because no one was there to witness that story, right? Like, we haven't even mentioned that she's dead yet until now.
I expect this is your idea of defending the nation, is it? This and diluting our forces through these distractions in Cartano and Kurthis. I do begin to see how the ranks of the Immortal Flames came to be riddled with Garlean sympathizers. You are plainly unfit for command.
And there's one good nation.
Wait, gods damn you. Your words make no sense. What assassin?
Me!
You mean to say you don't know? We caught the vaunted champion of the Scions in her Grace's private chambers, not moments after the deed was done.
What do you mean you don't know? You know that nobody knows, because you saw it and didn't tell anyone yet.
No, this cannot be.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if that isn't, like, that is what happened, and yet, like, the way he's telling it, easily the opposite could have been what happened. And he was just like, I'm gonna tell everyone it was you, and leaves with a knife in his hand, you know? Like, there's no reason why we should trust what this guy's saying.
Save your breath. You will need it to plead your case. You and your entire order are to be tried for this atrocity.
This is a very weak plan.
Bring in the prisoner.
The prisoner? I'm a prisoner? Great, good. I said it was so, and therefore it is. I was wearing a dress and everything for this banquet.
This woman stands accused of poisoning Her Royal Majesty Nanamu Namo and is suspected accessories to the crime. All members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn will be detained for questioning.
I mean, that's fair.
This is madness.
What a pity. Who'd have thought your tale would end like this?
And are you planning on killing me?
Should you demand further proof, a vial with traces of the substance used to poison her grace was found upon the assassin's person.
I mean, yeah, anyone can say anything. Like, it's completely irrelevant. Look! This vial that I have was found on her.
How very convenient.
Yeah, Ishtal was no fool.
You would speak of convenience? Who persuaded her grace to host this celebration? A diversion which presented you and your confederates ample opportunity to commit the crime, and a crowd within which to fade from view. A more convenient occasion I could scarcely imagine.
How dare you, after all we have done for Uldar?
Hold your tongue, witch! I'll not be ensorcelled. I know all about the dark gift that you and your disciples wield.
There are literally wizards in this setting. Like, that's like such a weird thing to say. I mean, no one calls them wizards, but like, you know what I mean? Like, anybody can just learn magic. Like, the fact that we have some special thing, which is super defined, but whatever, I digress. It's, like, super irrelevant.
Oh, yes. I've observed how you worked upon the minds of the Alliance leaders, bending them to your will. And what of your cordial relationship with Sir Emmerich? For years, Ishgard abjured all contact with the outside world, and now the Lord Commander of the Temple Knights treats you with the familiarity of a childhood friend.
Look, you have absolutely no, like, okay, you do have some, like, legal power, but there's, like, 2 other major power, like, leaders here that, like, would definitely defend us because we're great. And also, Merle is... I love her. What?
I'll tell you what I think. I think this desperate defense of Ishgard was but a ruse to deceive us into dividing our forces.
There's, like, not even that many people here. Like, who are you putting on this show for?
Your next move will be to charm your Kurthan allies into invading our lands. Now, that is truly ridiculous.
How do you even think of this stuff?
She cannot be dead.
Yeah, we probably should be reacting to the fact that she's dead. That is true. That did actually happen.
Stand aside, Ilbert. I want to see the Sultana.
Spare yourself the pain, brother. I saw her with my own eyes.
Yeah, literally, can we have someone actually, like, look over the crime scene instead of trusting this known liar? Like, so dumb.
For a mercy, the poison took her swiftly. Her handmaiden can attest to that.
Yeah, so she poisoned but was, like, coerced into it. I'm amazed that she would do that, right? Like,
No!
She seemed very loyal, is all I'm saying. Then again, when you're a handmaid to a person of power, there's a power imbalance there. Like, probably wouldn't take much.
Plainly, the Royalists can no longer be relied upon to keep our nation safe. And so it falls to the monitorists of the Syndicate to govern Uldar. But should you wish to help us, General, we would be more than happy to entrust the task of planning Her Grace's funeral to you. It seems only right that you should bury your precious Sultana, and we will be glad to be rid of that burden.
Or it was just a knockout thing, and that's how the handmaiden was able to convince herself that it was okay to do. And then she's gonna get buried alive. I feel like this game's not, like, gonna make someone get buried alive. I think it's gonna pull its punches a bit more than that. That's a bit too intense.
I'll bet you will. You more than any man.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean you had her killed, you black-hearted bastard!
You know, like, everybody knows immediately. Like, it's not even a question.
What rot! Though I did have sufficient motive, 'tis true. That young lady caused me no end of grief.
Are you even trying? Okay.
She always was a most unwilling puppet. I dare say Her Grace was grateful that someone thought to cut her strings.
You would mock her, then mock her from hell!
What?
Does he actually just die? That'd be amazing. I don't think he planned on being a martyr, but yeah, that wasn't smooth. I support him, though.
Have you lost your mind, General? It is forbidden to draw steel in the royal chambers, much less slaughter our fellow syndicate members. You're one of them. You've been in league with the Scions all along.
Well, yeah, but... I mean, they're not a Scion.
You're next, you scheming bastard.
You lose an arm? Wow.
Raban!
Seven hells!
There we are! We'll do something cool!
Admiral, we must leave.
Let's go. Let's not be in this scene. Come on, bro. Don't just leave. Ah, I'm disappointed in you. You have the power to settle all of this because you are the best one. Disappointing.
How unlike you, old friend. I did not expect to take your arm so easily.
It was weird.
Take the Scions into custody. They have conspired to commit regicide. And arrest this traitor as well.
Is it a good old-fashioned jailbreak? Every Final Fantasy game needs a jailbreak.
Ilbert, I hope you choke on their coin.
Tis better than the dirt I've supped on these long years. We can't all abandon Alamigo and become great war heroes as you have.
I'm a little surprised to see us,
You are not the man you once were, Raban. Since that girl strapped the yoke around your neck, you've become docile. She took the mad bull and cut off his balls, and a bull that cannot rot is fit for naught but slaughter.
Wow, that was vulgar.
Shall I tell you who really killed your precious Sultana? It was me.
Yeah. No, that was obvious.
You die!
Yeah, so I'm a little surprised with anything. Like, they did such a good job at, like, establishing him as, like, a dear, close friend of Raban's. Which is cool, right? Like, it's nice seeing these actual, like, building up of characters and relationships and then subverting them, right? Which is something that, like, basically just didn't happen at all in the original A Realm Reborn.
I never doubted you, not for a moment. But there is more to this than I yet understand. Flee this place. Clear your names. Find out who is behind this plot. It is the only way. Now go!
What do you mean? We know. What are you talking about? I guess you think there's more to it than just Teleji Adelenji wants to power? Alright, sure. Yeah, it's pretty good. All those like slow, stilted, poorly paced scenes, and then like one really good scene.
Ah, there you are.
Thancred, where have you been?
Avoiding the fumbling advances of some very persistent admirers.
Yeah.
When I realized the celebrations had turned sour, it seemed prudent to slip away and take stock of the situation. 'Twould appear that much of the city is already under tight guard. It occurs to me that expanding the Brass Blade's authority may not have been such a wonderful idea after all.
The success of this plan was contingent upon those thugs having the run of the place. Just how long has this scheme been in motion?
The careful preparations, the maneuvering of forces. I am inclined to agree with the General's insistence that a deeper plot exists here.
Okay.
So, would I be right in thinking we now have an excuse to pummel as many brass blades as we like?
I love Yida. Yida's such a great.
Unless you plan on pummeling them all, I'm not sure that will greatly aid our cause.
I also like Papalymo a lot.
The Sultana's assassination was but one part of the scheme. We too were its targets. And though we did not share Pornonimo's fate, we are yet hobbled by the charges laid at our door. Where now might we seek refuge?
Where indeed, we may safely assume that our foe is thought to have the Rising Stones watched.
Forgive me for stating the obvious, but our choice of destination will matter little if we cannot secure an escape route out of Ul'dah.
Rising Stones is the, like, they basically moved the Waking Sands and changed the name.
Happily, I believe I can provide one. Papashan once told me about the passages hidden in the walls of the palace. If I recall correctly, the fireplace in Animo's chambers conceals the entrance to a tunnel.
Oh, okay. So you could have killed her.
It should lead outside the city and allow us to avoid any messy confrontations.
That's really funny that there's like a secret passage, considering like one of the primary like evidence pieces is that there was no other exits. There just straight up was. Oh, she really wants to punch someone.
The rest of you go on ahead. I'll handle this lot.
You just need any excuse, don't you, Ida?
By yourself? I suppose I shall just have to join you.
Yeah, you do, Papalymo. Inseparable.
Crystal Braves too, huh? Now this should be interesting.
Ida! Papalymo!
We are not going to take advantage of the opportunity you're giving us. We're just gonna stand here. Ooh.
We will hold our pursuers here. Hurry, now. Find this tunnel of Thancred's.
Couldn't you have just dropped that gate? I guess they have to, like, stop people from opening the gate. Or they'll just open. That's weird.
Minfilia, we cannot linger.
They'll be fine. I mean, I guess you did just, like, hear about someone dying and another person got their arm cut off, so I guess it's kind of reasonable to be a little worried. That's a cool shot. I like the lighting they've been using in this cutscene sequence. You don't see much, like, variation in lighting. There she is. Is she betrayer, or did she do something else? Ilberd said that he killed her, so maybe she didn't know about the poison. Oh, no. I just really thought the handmaiden, like, was suddenly a ninja or something.
Now look what you've done.
Yeah, I don't want to see your eyes. That's weird.
Ida, are you all right? There are just too many of them.
It's almost like we shouldn't have done this and everyone was correct in the first place.
I'm fine. I could do this all day. How about you?
I still have no idea why they wear those masks.
Nearing the end of my tether.
Where are they even coming from?
This is so stupid. We're the scions of the Seventh Dawn. The ones who stand between this realm and the evil that's trying to destroy it.
And if you think we'll leave the stewardship of Eorzea to the likes of your masters, then you're sorely mistaken.
Sorry I dragged you into this, Papalymo.
'Tis hardly the first time, and I'll be damned if it will be the last.
Oh, you just got buffed. I have no idea what spell that was.
Let them have it, Ida.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Sure, why not? Yeah. At first I thought that was like a tankard from like ale.
I never knew such a watercourse existed beneath Uldar.
The architecture is of the Sildine style, if I'm not mistaken. The ancients plainly foresaw the need for a ready means of escape.
Why don't you all know about this? You're like mostly scholars, only a little bit fighters. Yasmin, Philly, and Y'shtola.
This way!
Well, that didn't take long. It seems these tunnels were not as secret as I'd hoped.
And
You
yeah.
two, go on ahead. Thancred and I will deal with this.
What do you mean to do?
Everyone keeps leaving me to protect me. I hate it.
Only that which is required to ensure that the dawn's light survive to brighten the morrow.
Fear not, antecedent. You haven't seen the last of these fair features.
My friends.
I will say
Leave us.
the post A Realm Reborn content, where you're spending time in the Rising Stones, does a really good job of establishing these characters and adding like interest to them. Through A Realm Reborn, they are not characterized at all. They are.
What is the plan, milady? Shall I take the dozen on the left and you the dozen on the right? The odds are not exactly stacked in our favor.
Numbers will count for little when I bring the tunnel down upon their heads. Though I cannot say I relish the thought of being entombed with you for all eternity.
You wound me. I will have you know that many a maid would kill for the chance to spend forever at my side. Now, may I have the last dance?
Oh, there's like actually not that many of them, turns out. Oh, well, there goes your knife.
Well, this is going splendidly. Now would be a good time, milady.
'Tis done.
But anyway, yeah. Realm Reborn, they did not really do much a good job of defining these characters. They were all very bland. But then,
Forgive me, Mitra.
post Realm Reborn, you start to get to actually talk to them in the Rising Stones. You get to sort of hang out with them, hear a little snippet about what's going on in their lives, and learn a lot of cool details about them. And that's doing a good job at culminating in these moments here. Where, like, if this happened without the post-Realm Reborn stuff, I would not care, because they were not interesting yet. But they actually are quite interesting after post-AR, so I can give it that.
She speaks to me. No. I must remain behind, but you cannot stay with me.
Okay.
Please, you must go on. You are the warrior of light. You are hope for the Scions and for all the realm. As long as your flame continues to burn, the light of the dawn may ever be relit. You must escape and save Eorzea from those who would plunge it into darkness.
Let's stand here and argue about it.
'Tis the only way.
We could just, like, run real fast. I don't know, like, I've never understood this in basically any media ever. It's not like they have a car or something and we're on foot and you need to stop them. I feel like a fool wearing a dress to a banquet. That's not a glamour, I just actually put a dress on. It's all wet now. I really like my side glances. They're very just like, I'm so annoyed. It's really good. Oh, hey. Who is that?
I am glad to see you safe, my friend. What of the others?
Hi, Alvino. What's up? Nice. They're all dead.
Damn that man!
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Teleji played me for a fool. I thought the Crystal Brave's mine till the very moment I felt the blade at my back.
Again, we had the whole thing about, wow, I can't believe this person who betrayed the flames had been, like, seated at its inception. They really didn't do a good job at making sure they had trustworthy people. Anyway, let's assemble something in, like, 4 days with whoever is available. But, yeah, who is this guy?
There will be ample time for soul-searching later. For now, we must put some moms between us and Ul'dah.
There will be ample time for soul-searching later. I gotta get the voice in my head if I ever need to read their text. Yeah, because this game does not do a great job of repeating lines. Wait, I recognize that guy.
Well, would you look who it is? Need a ride? I doubt it'll be half as exciting as the last trip we took. Not if I have anything to say about it anyway.
This guy's in the opening cutscene, I think, when you, like, ride into town. Have we seen him since then? I don't remember. But yeah, this is the guy that's like, you're going into wherever your starting city is. That's a really nice place. Let's talk about it. You're an adventurer, aren't you? Have we seen him since then? That's so funny.
Let's not dawdle, eh? All aboard!
He probably wasn't voiced either. It's probably the first time I've heard him speak. Because, yeah. I'm still bitter about how much dialogue Biggs and Wedge have before they ever get voiced dialogue. I was so shocked by how they sounded. It was wild. And then even if they do establish it, I might forget by the time I actually have to start reading their dialogue. So, you know, that. And we just sort of stroll out of here.
I was stocking up on supplies over in Vesper Bay, you see, when your sister come up and begged a favour. Said her brother was having some trouble down in Uldar and likely needed a helping hand getting away.
It is still wild to me that Alisei is seated, like, at the beginning of A Realm Reborn, and then just never mentioned again for the entire rest of that game.
Thinking them ruins would make a fine hiding place, I decided to try there first. And lo and behold, there you were. Aye, and judging by them soldiers as we're pouring out of the city, I arrived not a moment too soon. Ha! Must have been fate that we happened to find you there, though, eh?
Yeah, sure.
I had thought to look out for Alizé, but it would appear she was the one watching over me. I've made such a mess of things.
Yeah, you really did. Good intentions, but I very much question most of your decisions.
Who might you be, young sir?
Yeah, who might you be?
Pippin Taropin, Vice Marshal of the Immortal Flames.
Okay, I believe you. I have no idea if you were established earlier or not.
I had been on the Alamegan front these past few moons, but an urgent communication called me back to Uldar.
Guess not.
Scarce had my boots touched the cobbles, though, when the streets erupted with cries of assassination. I immediately went in search of answers, and came across Master Alfino here. Needless to say, I did not think his imprisonment justified. The blame plainly lies with the Monetarists. Their greed and corruption are well known to me, but for them to take advantage of the situation with such alacrity...
I could tell immediately, even though I just arrived and really haven't had time to take stock of the situation.
Was that Pippin, you said? Ain't that the name of General Alden's lad?
Yes, I am his son. Adopted, of course. It was only as we were leaving Uldar that I learned of father's fate. Once I have seen you a safe distance away, I mean to return to the city and extricate him from this madness.
Then you needn't travel no further than Blackbrush. Our fugitives have a friend waiting for them there.
This is really interesting. If we actually become
I dreamed
fugitives,
of bringing about Eorzea's salvation, but in the end,
it implies that it's going to be resolved
it was I who needed saving.
basically by the end of this cutscene. Because, like, it's an MMO. Like, we're gonna just walk around the world, right? It might be a sequence of stuff where they limit where you can go, but I mean, probably not really. Them soldiers will keep searching for a while yet. Reckon we'll take the carriage back towards Ul'dah and get the lay of the land. Maybe provide a distraction if need be. You three wait here. Help will be along shortly. Stay strong, friends. The real fight's to come. Alright, let's go. I'm not confident that was his voice. He, like, just stopped talking, too. Oh well. I was not, internalizing it. Alright, here we are. We're in Central Tunnelon. I guess. I would like to say, if I hadn't committed to, like, doing an extra long stream today, that would have literally been the entire stream. It is 7:30 when I normally end my streams. That was 100% of it. It was precisely an hour worth of cutscene. How could I have been so blind? Alright, what was this guy's voice again? The most unassuming folk can prove to be our greatest allies. That fellow was but a passing merchant, yet he lent us aid without a moment's hesitation, or any hint of concern for his own safety. Though I can well imagine how a man could feel inspired to risk all in your presence. So have you heard of me? Father spoke often of you, Darcisi, and long have I looked forward to our first meeting. Needless to say, this is not at all how I envisioned it. Do I know your father? Because I super don't. I have no idea who your father is. Master Alphinaud, you must not give in to despair. That would only play into our enemy's hands. So long as you and Darcisi are free, we may still set things right. Forgive me, Master Tarpon, but Alphinaud, my boy! Sorry to keep you waiting! Oh, it's Cid, okay. Not too far off. Cid? What are you doing here? Pulling you out of the fire as usual. Your merchant friend told me everything. Truly? Then he is no merchant but an angel in peddler's clothing. But tell us, how do you intend to bear our friends to safety? I hid the Enterprise but a short distance away. All I need is a destination. Cid's voice is really fun to do. We must find a place beyond the reach of both the Monetarists and the Crystal Braves. Let's go to Limsa Lominsa. Why don't we go to Limsa Lominsa? Limsa Lominsa's great. I love Limsa Lominsa. It's like on the water. Like it's super secure. Let's just go to Limsa Lominsa. Kurthus, Ishgard will not suffer the intrusion of foreign forces in their territory. That settles it. With me, everyone. I mean, I knew that was going to happen because, like, this is all about getting to Heavensward, which is... you get to go to Ishgard. That's all I know about it. It's the only thing I know about Heavensward. Not I fear. I must remain here. I dare not abandon Ul'dah to the Monetarists and their cronies. You may be certain that they will seek to defame you, but both here and in the other city-states. But know that I shall do my utmost to thwart their every effort. Frankly, I do not expect it to be much of a challenge. The small folk will not turn so easily on the Warrior of Light and her allies, no matter what the Monetarists claim. Yeah, like, that's what I said. I could totally get away with murder. Marshal Tarpon, I know not what to say. Ha! Now that father would labor to believe. Now that father would... Got you, okay. But enough talk. You must go, Master Alphinaud. Your airship awaits. Follow me, everyone. Are Biggs and Wedge gonna be here? Yes? No? Up, up! There's no rest for the righteous. Okay. Wow. That did not need to be there. They could have just gone straight to this scene, but sure. I like Pippin. Pippin has a fun voice. That's how I judge all characters. Oh. No, those are just like normal fires, right? That's not... Okay, I thought that was something bad at first. Time to beg them for entry. You know, I should have changed my clothes during that little blip where they let me play for 2 seconds just to walk forward and talk to somebody. You know, just walk forward and talk to somebody. It's a very important step. I mean, they're giving me a chance to, like, take a break because they knew it had been literally an hour of cutscene. We should make for Camp Dragonhead and speak with Lord Hoshafont. Mayhap he will know what to do. Is it another cutscene or is it more walking? I like it when it just jumps me to places. Like, so much of this game is just walking from point A to point B, talking to someone, and walking back again. But I will take the opportunity to change my clothes. Because I feel like I was at a ball and I forgot I have a hat now. Alright, let's get out of here. This is so dumb. You didn't need to do that. You did not need to, like, I could have just... The cutscene could have just continued. But, it was feeling really weird being like, I went to a ball in this dress and I haven't changed my clothes yet. Alright. Alphino, are you okay? You look distraught. Lord Hoshafont has agreed to grant us succor. He says that we will be safe here. Well, I'll confirm what you just said. Wow, this hat is hilarious. Wow. You know, I'm actually going to take it off for these cutscenes. It's a bit much, I think. Alright. Master Alphino has told me your tale, Darcisi. It warms my heart that you should turn to me before all others, and I shall endeavor to deserve your trust. No, I would have gone to the Maelstrom. It wasn't my idea. It was Alphino's idea. I would have gone to the Maelstrom. Yeah. Alas, the situation here has grown more complicated in your absence. It would be best if I explained in full, which I'm about to do right now. But I have to say it in this way so that we can end one quest and start another. You know how this works by now. In times of trouble, there are few things more precious than unconditional support.
There has been word from the capital. Ishgard has weathered another assault. And 'tis said several wyverns broke through into the city proper.
So was that true, or was that a lie that Teleji said or not?
The temple knights succeeded in slaying the beasts, but the intrusion prompted orders to further strengthen the guard, and to place the city under a perpetual state of alert. How keenly we feel the loss of our wards at the gates of judgment. Yet we must not bemoan our misfortune. Sir Emmerich is safely returned from Ul'dah, and once more leads the defense of Ishgard. As for the matter of your asylum, I am afraid no progress will be made until the threat to our nation is diminished. But do not despair. You are not without allies. You are more than welcome to shelter here for as long as you wish. Pray, think of it as a new headquarters of sorts. The Falling Snows, or some such.
Look, Urianger is not here, and... Wait, where's Urianger? Oh, I didn't even think about that. We should probably talk to him. Yeah, no, I mean, Urianger would definitely appreciate your flowery name. But, yeah, wow. Urianger continues to just never be important. Or involved.
Quality aside, any who come here in search of you will receive no aid from House Forton. For once, the Ishgardian reputation for inhospitality shall work in our favor.
Ha!
Agents of Uldar will find their every inquiry dismissed, and their every request for entry rebuffed, until such time as their masters have acknowledged your innocence.
Alphinaud should not have
You once
suggested.
fought to preserve the honor of my dear friend. 'Tis a blessing that I may now repay that debt in kind.
Alphinaud should never have suggested Kurthus. He does not know how to dress for the weather.
But let us dwell no more on this. Pray, join the rest of your companions.
The rest? Oh, did they all make it here?
It's bitterly cold this day. I suspect there are those who might welcome the warmth your presence brings.
Who are the others? Do you have anything else to say? The intercessory awaits, Dassisi. Pray, do not keep your companions in suspense. I am certain their hearts will soar at the sight of you. Is it gonna be Hoary Boulder and, Quothame? Who managed to escape? And what of those who did not? Yeah, let's go find out and stop moping about it. You should maybe be a bit more, like, sympathetic. Never! Greetings, madame. Shall I show you inside? Upon proceeding to the accessory, several cutscenes will play in sequence. It is recommended that you set aside sufficient time to review those scenes in their entirety. Another hour of cutscenes! It's not like, honestly, Post A Realm Reborn has mostly been like several hours of cutscenes anyway, but all in one cutscene. It's still pretty good. It's still pretty impressive.
Alphinaud! There's Cece! Is that really you? I'm so happy that you are. I tried contacting Minfilia and the others, but no one would respond. And then Crystal Braves, her own people, turned on us in the marketplace. Vlammen told me to run, and so I did. I ran, and I ran, until my lungs burned, and my feet ached. But I lost my way, and then...
Fortunately, I had observed some of the Braves behaving suspiciously beforehand. Now, why are we giving a question mark? We know who this is, right? Oh, we've never seen her face. Ah, yes, my mask. It was lost in the struggle. I don't remember her voice, unfortunately. Or if she ever had one.
Pretty, isn't she? Anyway, after you found me, we traveled to Vesper Bay and met up with Urianger. When we told him what had happened, he used his magics to weave a glamour around the white waking sands. From the outside, our old headquarters now looks like an abandoned storehouse. The transformation didn't take long either. Apparently, Urianger started making preparations after the Imperial attack, just in case the Empire ever chose to pay us another visit. Good thinking, eh? Sorry, where was I? Oh, yes. So, we waited there at the Waking Sands, hoping others would come, but no one else did. My people are searching for the other scions even as we speak, but we have met with no success as yet. I had hoped that you might be able to suggest further places to look. But you should know, the Rising Stones did not share the Waking Sands' good fortune. Only Crystal Braves await you there. Where's Hoary Boulder and Kultane? Be that as it may, we yet have cause to hope. Be that as it may, we yet have cause to hope, do we not? If the two of you escaped, it is not impossible that the others could have done so as well. You may have been forsaken by men and women believed true, but rest assured that the people of Doma yet stand with you. We welcome this opportunity to repay our debts, and shall continue our efforts to locate the others and see the Scions restored to their rightful place of honor.
"'Tis all my doing. I believed myself the only one who truly understood Eorzea's woes. And look what that arrogance has wrought.
That's true. That is on you.
I gave commands, influenced governments with my certainty.
You were so full of yourself.
I treated the Crystal Braves and even the Scions themselves as pawns in my great scheme to save the realm. But in my headlong rush into imagined glory, I paid no heed to the ground upon which I trod. The salvation of Eorzea. What was it that I hoped to achieve?
I don't know.
Did I believe that I could rid the realm of every danger and difficulty? That I could defeat the Empire and the Ascians? And find homes for every refugee? Oh, yes. I was so very clever. Become a guardian of Eorzea, I implored, and sat back to watch my perfect army cleanse the land of chaos, which was all but a means to feed my own vanity.
Yeah, no, you kind of suck.
Only when all is lost do I finally realize the truth.
But you're learning.
Oh, Alphino.
Has Totoro ever been voiced before now? I'm actually not sure.
So, Master Alphino, are you content to remain a broken blade? Is there no flame hot enough to reforge you?
Is that a pickup line?
What of the fine companions who yet stand at your side? I dare say the fires of their determination will soon have you slicing the air again with your customary wit.
I hardly deserve such friendship. And besides, where are we to go?
Alphino, if I may?
Yeah, she has more of an accent than I realized.
Should this place not serve our purpose, then we shall go to Ishgard.
Yeah, I don't think she's ever been voiced before now. It's very close to how I imagined her, but she's got this, like, slight, kind of like Minfilia's accent, right? This, like, sort of slightly British thing going on.
Minfilia told me many times, as long as we stand fast against despair, the beacon of hope will never be lost to sight. Be it in the snow or in the clouds, we few will see that the dawn's light shines again.
You are right, Totoro. Thank you. And thank you for your kind words, Lord Orchefort. 'Tis true that Eorzea yet has her guardians. The Scions have achieved much, and 'twould be remiss of me to discard it all in a fit of self-pity. Let us then resume our journey, together, one step at a time.
I'm like overjoyed that Totoro is like traveling with us now. Like most important Scion, by far. Hello? Oh! I did not expect it to roll credits. Interesting. So, when I played to the end of A Realm Reborn, I did sit and watch the entire credits, and I got time to talk about the experience of that game and the experience of trying to stream the entirety of it and show like what a new player's experience might be to this game. Because so often you get pitched on the game based off of old fans who love it to death and are blinded of its like failings. Or not blinded, but they like brush aside how dramatic the failings are. But here I don't know how much I really have to say. Like, yes, the actual amount of time between the end of A Realm Reborn and this credit sequence is quite a lot. Like, it's many, many, many hours of gameplay. At least in my experience, because I'm slow. So there is stuff to talk about, but, like, I just super wasn't expecting it. There wasn't really any game happening during this last final sequence. But, I mean, let's talk about it, right? So, if you know the game well enough, I don't have to explain everything that happened during the post-A Realm Reborn content. But it was some of the best stuff, you know, in the game, right? So far, right? Again, we're pre-Heavensward. There is most of the game still left. But a lot of actually, like, really interesting, good stuff going on. A lot of good character moments. They really did a good job at establishing characters and trying to manipulate your opinion of those characters so that they could then later use them. Now, I'm not really that concerned with, like, Minfilia or Y'shtola or Thancred or Papalima or Ida. And it's not because I don't like those characters, I just don't believe anything bad happened to them, right? If it turns out something bad happens to them, then I'll get, like, upset. You know what I mean? But they didn't, like, seal the deal, right? If they actually killed someone, they did a very bad job at conveying that. And as such, I have no reason to be emotional about it, right? But, and spoilers for A Realm Reborn post-content, I didn't stream that stuff, so I don't feel super confident talking about it without saying such things. But they establish a character, Munbrida, in the post-AR content, which immediately she's super interesting. She's like, "Hi, I'm from this faction that you've sort of heard about but don't know a lot about, so I'm finally getting to represent those people. I just have a very compelling design. I have a voice, like, right out the gate. Like, she immediately has a voice actor, which does help you lock into a character quicker than just being, like, a silent person standing in front of you. Like, most characters I do not get attached to very quickly because there's so many NPCs in this game that there's, like, no reason to get attached to any of them. So that voicing actually is a big deal. And very, very quickly, it's like, oh, this person's awesome. And as I was saying before, they do something really cool with the post-A Realm Reborn content where they actually start doing, like, I feel like kind of the game started in post-A Realm Reborn, like, as far as hitting the notes of feeling like a Final Fantasy. I still think it was slow and not very well paced. I have that complaint about the entire experience of the game so far, so take that with a grain of salt. But when I think about Final Fantasy games, I think about legitimately, as like a child, Final Fantasy taught me that video games are an amazing storytelling medium because you can have this main story and then there can be additional information scattered throughout the world, other stories you can find by talking to people that are not necessary. And Final Fantasy XIV, in my experience, has been, there's a main story, and you will never talk to anyone else outside of the main story, ever. because everyone's just like a quest giver, repeat the same line over and over again character in most of the world. But what they were able to do in the Poster Realm Reborn content is, in the moving from the Waking Sands to the Rising Stones, they really leaned on the fact that that is an instanced area and said, every time you come back here to turn in a quest, all of the characters, all of the Scions are going to be doing something different, are going to be having different conversations, and you're going to learn little snippets about them. Like, I think it's just really interesting how, like, hard they tried to push on Thancred being this kind of, like, ladies' man roguish character, because that was, like, just not in the game at all in A Realm Reborn. Like, if it was, they did a very bad job at, like, driving that home, because it wasn't important. Like, this is just some guy. He wasn't interesting, he wasn't compelling, he was just some guy. And then in Poster Realm Reborn, they're like, we need to make this guy, give them a shtick. What's their shtick? Their shtick is he's a ladies' man. Cool, awesome. Roguish ladies' man is a great pitch, and that does make Thancred a more interesting character, and, you know, they continued it into this cutscene at the end of the game, right? Of, like, he was off, like, flirting with some dame, you know? Like, that was what he was doing during this whole sequence. And, cool. It feels a little weird and forced, because as a player who played through all of A Realm Reborn, I'm like, that's not even, like, Thancred didn't act like that until the post-content. But if I ignore all of that stuff and go, it was bad, don't take it seriously, it was bad, don't worry about it, then suddenly I can go like, yeah, they did introduce Thancred as this ladies' man character, and it does feel like that through line was relevant and satisfying in the end, right? In the same way that I don't feel like upset that Moonbrita came out of nowhere and was established as the character she was established as, because yeah, she just got introduced. Of course she came out of nowhere and was established the way she was established, right? It only feels weird when it's someone like Thancred who has, you know, dozens of hours of playtime behind him and wasn't really very well established. I guess I said I was gonna, like, spoil something. I was gonna say Moonbrita dies. The point is, they do an amazing job at introducing this new character and make you attached to her, and then they kill her. And it is one of the most elegant, like, we're gonna make you love this character, and then kill this character sequences that I've ever seen in anything. Like, legitimately. As far as, like, how little time you spend with the character, it works really well, because if you spend too much time with a character, it feels, like, kind of cheap for them to die. You're just like, what? That person can't die? And oftentimes they don't. Oftentimes they come back when that's the sort of thing that happens in a game, right? But this character was in the perfect position. They established her, they made you love her, but they didn't make you spend enough time with her that it wasn't actually, like, it was believable that they died, right? They didn't feel like, oh, that person's got plot armor, of course they can't die, right? Whereas all these other people here, I'm like, Y'shtola's not dead. Thancred's not dead. Papalymo's not dead. And maybe they are, but, I mean, I think they'd show the body, right? They really want to, you know, they'd want to drive that home, I would think. Probably we're going to spend another 20 hours wandering around the world trying to fetch quest our way into finding all of them and re-recruiting them and stuff, but I digress. Final Fantasy XIV is a game where every, like, few chapters, like, every, like, if you break the game down into chapters, every chapter feels like, oh, that could have been the beginning. You didn't need anything before that. And that's, like, not really a good thing. That feels really bad. But, like, yeah, once again, I'm like, that could have been the start of the game. You know? Now, I'm going to take that back. Because, legitimately, the Poster Realm Reborn content does a great job at establishing these characters that had basically no characterization up to that point. And as such, the Poster Realm Reborn content is possibly the best starting point that I've seen that doesn't feel like immediately I was like, oh, you could have cut all that before. If it started here, that would feel weird, because I don't know these characters, none of it interesting. But the Poster Realm Reborn content is enough time, and they do such a very good job at establishing all these characters, that it could have started at Post Realm Reborn. It could have started with, like, you are the warrior of light. You just saved the world. And you know what? That would have probably felt better because, honestly, I don't feel like I saved the world. Maybe some people play this game and they feel like a badass hero. I didn't. I felt like I did nothing. I think that the actual gameplay does a bad job at making you feel like a hero. And as such, even though, you know, people say show don't tell, I think it's more effective to have told me that I saved the world. Because my actual played lived experience contradicts that. I don't feel like I saved the world, right? And as such, yeah, telling me I saved the world would probably do a better job at setting us up for Heavensward than what I played, right? So yeah, I would say Post Realm Reborn is a great starting point for the game. And everything before that, I'm not saying you didn't get introduced to characters. I'm not saying that it didn't, like, establish things in the world. But, like, you could cut that down to, like, a 5-minute video. Like, you could just cut that down to an animated short and have all of that compressed and then start the game at a Post Realm Reborn. But, and this is what the point I'm actually trying to make, is Post Realm Reborn actually really good. Does it still have its pacing issues? Yes. Is it slow walking from point A to point B, turning in a quest, walking back again, turning in a different quest? Like, yes, it's just walking around the world and talking to people. But the world feels way more alive in Post Realm Reborn. There are sort of, like, really interesting characters. Some of the villains are actually really, really fun. They had Shiva, who is, like, this really interesting character. Sort of. I guess Shiva's not really anybody. They talk about her as if she's someone interesting, but we don't, like, really meet her. We meet Iceheart, who's, like, the vessel for Shiva, which is really cool. But yeah, like, they do that's my review of not Final Fantasy 14 or Realm Reborn, but the Post Realm Reborn content. I do think it's too long. I do think it's poorly paced, but what is there is really good. And what I haven't talked about is the Crystal Tower thing. That feels so weird. It is so... I mean, let's talk about it. Post A Realm Reborn content, MSQ, you have to go through these sets of quests to be able to progress through it, and it's pretty good. Poorly paced, but very good. At one point, they just go, hey, stop playing the game, stop playing MSQ, go do this, like, blue side quest, and then come back. And that is the Crystal Tower arc. And that part is, it feels weird because there's no reason why it's not MSQ, right? Like, first and foremost, it's just, like, weird that they didn't qualify it as MSQ if it's going to be required for MSQ. Just make it MSQ. Like, whatever. But that's kind of irrelevant. That's not a big deal. It's just MSQ by any other name, right? But it is weird having them be like, there's all this stuff going on in MSQ, and then you're going to cut to a different series of events that ignore what's happening with MSQ because they don't know where you are in the MSQ, right? Anyway, you go do the Crystal Tower. It's absolutely ridiculous. You're, like, going to try and do some past super technology, archaeology type what's the word? Exhibition? That's not right. Excavation. That's the one. And, you know, check out this ancient technology that's awesome and cool. Your motivation makes no sense. You're like, we should do it for us, but also to make sure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. And it's like, it's got really good security. Maybe we shouldn't. Like, don't you think that maybe by just deactivating the security, we're just helping it fall into the wrong hands? Like, this feels really dumb. But anyway, you do that. It's very not well-paced, but that's just the game. I guess I'm just used to that. They establish some characters which feel like they don't need to be established at first. I'm going to say at first. They establish a character, Grahatia, or something like that, who I'm just like, why are you adding a new character? Why did you do this to me? You could have just used any of your thousands of existing characters. Just choose one and decide that they're in our they're here now. Like, just make them that person. That would have been fine. There's a plenty of scholars to go around. Now, the reason they do is because they wanted to establish that this guy has, like, Allegan blood or something, which makes them special. Don't worry about it. It's not important. I mean, it is important, but, like, not for my explanation. So they were like, okay, we can't just use anybody. I mean, they totally could have used anybody and then just, like, changed what the visual tell of it being, right? They could have made it like, I have a birthmark underneath of my, you know, sleeve, and then they could have used anyone. They could have just used anybody that already existed. That would have been more interesting. I think G'raha is a not necessary character. Anyway, sorry, I'm gonna go off on a tangent. And you play through the Crystal Tower. It introduces the 24 people raid. 24 person raids. And I hated them. I thought they were trash. This is me being opinionated and brash, and I don't actually mean to, like, if you like them, that's awesome. Like, good job. Like, I'm not trying to, like, say that they're bad and you should feel bad. But I don't like them. I thought that they felt, well, a few things. One, it's too much, like, visual clutter. There's just too much going on. And it's just, like, it's just nonsense. Two, the gameplay is not even, like, different or interesting. There's, like, more people on your screen doing stuff, but you do exactly the same thing. There's just more people. Three, it has a severe disconnect between the narrative. The narrative is like, you gather some people and go in and do this thing, and you're like, okay, cool, that's why there's 24 other people. And then you come out of the cutscene, they're like, we couldn't have done it without you. You were so important. I was like, I was one of 24 people. You definitely could have done it without me. I was not more important than any of those other people. What are you talking about, right? And that's the big thing, is that you're supposed to be this warrior of light. And every time you do a big, epic, whoa, there's 24 people raid, you don't feel like the Warrior of Light. You feel like some rando guy, right? Mass scale combat, not that 24 people's mass scale, but like large scale combat means everyone's a soldier. No one's a hero, right? This is why D&D is about skirmishes of like 3 to 4 people. Like, you want to be a hero. You want to be like, you did something cool, and you don't when you're one of 24 people, right? So anyway, you play through that, you do the thing, you discover, like, a weird thing that's like, okay, this is going on, but it's going on, like, again, it's going on, like, parallel to the main story. So it didn't actually affect anything that happened here. Like, nothing happened here had anything to do with what happened in the Crystal Tower at all. So I came out of it going, oh, that was an entirely separate Final Fantasy game. They just took a Final Fantasy game and stuck it in Final Fantasy XIV. They compressed it down to like 8 hours, and then they're like, boom, there you go. We made a Final Fantasy game, compressed it to 8 hours, and stuck it in Final Fantasy XIV, which is actually really cool. Like, again, I'm gonna keep ragging on the pacing because that's just what I do. Don't take it too harshly. And yeah, it just goes like, they hit all the notes. Like, it felt like a full Final Fantasy game, which is super impressive, despite how much I ragged on it when I was playing through it. Hello, C-Series J-Type. The Warriors of Light were always a group to begin with. You just happen to be one of the only remaining people with the Echo. Oh, hey, it's Val. Hi, Val. Welcome in. There's apparently credits in the middle of the game. Just like, here's some credits. Yeah, no, the idea that the Warriors of Light are like a group is an interesting concept, in that, like, that has not been established in the game, right? Never have they mentioned it in that way. It's just, you're gathering a bunch of allies, and here they all are, but I digress. You and I have talked about this a lot. I don't need to, like, get into all that. I realize there's a lot of context you're missing from 1.0. Interesting. So, like, you're saying that the a lot of stuff did get cut out to trim down A Realm Reborn. Not that you'd know it if you only played A Realm Reborn. It is long. But anyway, so you think there's actually, like, crucial stuff that kind of changes the context that got cut, that's really interesting to hear. I don't know. I was really hoping these credits would be over by now, in that I feel like I've exhausted what I intended to talk about. I got to talk about A Realm Reborn's post-content and its structure and what I liked and what I didn't. And then I talked about Crystal Tower and what I liked and what I didn't. We might be coming to the end here. Okay. Not bad timing. Nope, I'm wrong. I don't know how to fill the rest of this time here. Yeah, dang. I was really hoping that it would somehow perfectly sync up with my thought processes. It's really slow right now, though. They're showing like one thing at a time. It must be about to end. It must be. Like, you would show more credits than this at a time if it wasn't about to be over. Okay.
All has been arranged as you desired, my lord.
Okay, so she did plan it. Or was, like, part of it. Or maybe not. Wasn't he, like, actually against Telegia earlier? I don't know. I'm curious how it shakes out. Just straight up lost your arm. Nabrialis. I don't know how to pronounce that. Nabrialis is no more. The ardor was not his to invoke. His demise was of his own making. Nevertheless, it concerns me. They have extinguished that which should rightly be eternal. Mayhap he was not wholly mistaken. Greater haste may be warranted. We are of one mind. The northern lands, then? The earth is fertile, and the seeds well sown. By my will, they shall reap salvation unlike any the world has known. By his will. By his will. I have answered thy summons, emissary. Speak, and make thine intent known. I would speak of fate, Archon. Yours, mine, the fate of this very star. I'm not sure what my takeaway from that's supposed to be. I mean, I still don't understand what happened with Thancred in A Realm Reborn, so I'm just sort of assuming he's possessed or something. He might not be. I don't know. But, like, they haven't indicated to me one way or the other, so they're not doing a good job at making me feel a specific way. Like, they want to control my emotions so that they can then, like, either confirm them or subvert them, right? And they've done neither. I'm just like, I guess I'll find out later, which is like, I don't know. I think they could have done more there.
Thou thinkest sanctuary lieth beyond.
I think there's fish out there that I haven't caught. That's what I think.
Delusion. Despair. Death. Thou shalt find naught else here.
I'm glad I'm not still wearing that dress out here in the cold. That would look silly. To preserve the dawn's light, the heroes journeyed north. Their hearts filled with hope and eyes fixed heavensward. A new chapter of New Game Plus has been added. I don't know, that's really funny to me. Cool. Hey, Tataru. Do I have to give you an accent now that I know you have one?
No matter how long it takes, I have faith we will find the others. With Lady Yugiri's shinobi, Oriange's intelligence, and my versatility, there's nothing we cannot do.
I don't know how to give you an accent, sorry. I'm going to keep doing your voice the way I've been always doing it. The time for action has come, and Alphino knows what he must do. I will say that series of cutscenes was less than an hour, but there's probably more to come, so we'll see. Less than an hour including credits. Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
The dawn's light will shine again.
C-Series J-Type in chat says, prepare for new voice actors. And yeah, no, I noticed that immediately. Holy crap, Alphino, what happened? It's been like 3 seconds. I guess there was like that entire credits roll. Wow.
So long as we have these specious accusations hanging over us, we will struggle to achieve anything.
I think I do a better impression personally.
You must go to Ishgard, as Tataru proposed. I will return to Uldar and set things right.
I thought that they were talking about Tataru, and I was like, did you forget who Tataru is? What?
Pray, do not be so hasty, Master Alphino.
Lord Orchiffon.
Full well do I understand your desire to clear your names. But now is not the time for drastic action. You yet have allies upon whom you can rely. There is no need to act alone.
You see, this is why Tataru had never been voiced before. She always just does that.
Yes. Yes, of course. Pray forgive my impatience.
I hate it. Wow, that is so jarring. It's like not a bad voice for him. It's just like not his voice.
I bring tidings. Count Edmont has decreed that the 3 of you be taken in as wards of House Fortan. Under our patronage, you shall be granted access to the city proper. Pray, consider our manor your new headquarters, from which you may gather information and plan how best to proceed. Needless to say, should any of your missing allies be found, as I am certain they shall, they will of course be welcome to join you there.
You are more than generous, my friend. On behalf of my fellows, I humbly accept your offer of hospitality.
The Count is a good man and just. He will treat you with the kindness and respect that a hero and dear friend deserves.
To Ishgard, then. Together. There we shall carry on the Scion's legacy. There we shall begin anew.
Here, here!
Tataru, I think Alphino was possessed by an Aesir. What do we do?
They say the winds can be rather fierce on the steps of faith. Be sure to wrap up before we go.
I don't think I have anything, like, super obviously worn. Not at all the circumstances under which I had hoped to visit Ishgard for the first time, but so be it. I must go on ahead and speak with the Count. Fear not, however, for everything has been arranged. The sentries of the Gates of Judgment have been informed of your decision, and you need but state your names, and they will allow you to pass. My manservant shall be waiting for you at the city gates, ready to escort you to our manor, where we shall meet again. Until then. Yeah, Cisse Series J-Type in chat. That is so hard to say. I know your name's Val, but I always feel like I need to be referring to you by your Twitch name if you're chatting in chat. Talking about the, like, delay in actual time that, like, things are released. I thought about that, like, the whole time I was doing the Crystal Tower, actually. I was really curious. I wonder, actually, if you know the answer to this. The Crystal Tower series felt like, in playing it, that it was released in chunks. Like, I wouldn't be surprised at all of it if it was released, like, in patches every week or something. Because they kept talking about, like, good job, everybody! I'll see you in, like, a month, right? Like, we have work to do. And then they're like, we've been working for days, and this is what we've discovered. And I'm like, okay, sure. Sure you have. Yeah, all the Alliance raids are every other patch usually, so over the course of a year. Very cool, right? Like, I actually think that the idea of experiencing something as sort of a slow release in a game is really interesting. Like, I like the concept of that, and the idea of actually enforcing that in the game is very cool. Like, I like that a lot. There's just this disconnect when that isn't how you experienced it, right? I don't know the best way of doing that, because I don't think it needs to, like, explicitly state, hey, time has passed, but, like, yeah, it's interesting. Wards of Hell's Photon. Ah, yes, you may pass. I'm going to Ishgard! We did it! I've hung out around this gate so much, and they're just like, nah, you can't come through. Now that you're fugitives, sure, I guess. I guess now that you're fugitives.
And so they came, at a friend's behest.
Alphino's finally wearing a code! Yes! He figured it out! Aw, Tatar's cute.
Heroes once celebrated as saviors of Eorzea, brought low through treachery, their names blackened with royal blood.
You know, I should have tried to go back to, like, Ul'dah. I didn't even think about it. I definitely should have.
Memories of the lost and dreams of redemption, with hope yet in their hearts, they came.
Imagine waiting several months to be able to come do this. Like, they must let you go back to Ul'dah and stuff, right? How I'm really curious how that would have worked. Oh well.
To Ishgard, shining city on the mount, overlooking the dominion of Kurthus. A great and proud nation, devoted to Halone, the Fury, ruled by Thordan VII, Archbishop of the Ishgardian Orthodox Church. The last bastion of the faith, her walls ever bristling with the sworn swords and spears of her 4 high houses. A land that after 1,000 years of war had forgotten what it was to be at peace.
By the way, I don't have to be clicking this forward through text. I didn't realize that. But yeah, it's auto-advancing.
Through gates long closed, the warrior of light and her companions passed, entering at last a city whose history was written in blood. In the midst of the Dragonsong War they came, 3 weary travelers whose arrival would set in motion great change. Though none knew then how great.
They should have given me a coat. That should have been like the quest reward. And then I could have put it on for this scene. That would have been great. Nice. I'm excited. Like, they've really shown, like, growth playing through, like, the end of A Realm Reborn, through post-content, and through this cutscene. Like, legitimately. Yeah, it's a different tone. See, serious J-Type says in chat. Yeah. From afar, the spires do not seem so tall. Guys, I feel like a child in Giant's Castle. And everyone's gonna treat you like a child because people are mean to Lalafell. Greetings, Mistress Darcy. Wow, yeah, that's my last name. That's so weird. I'm not used to that. On behalf of House Fortam, I bid you welcome to Ishgard. My lord humbly requests your presence at the residence in the Pillars. If you would all come with me. What if I had to talk to you? Can I, like, go off exploring? I'm not going to, because I'm, like, presenting this sequence, and I want to keep it tight. But I'm curious how much they'll let me just run off and do things. Where am I going? What the heck? Oh, wow, they're just, like, gone, huh? Oh, interesting. Cool. So the question is, do I continue this on or do I call it there? Like, I made it. You know? That was the sequence. That was the end of the post A Realm Reborn content. I wish I had a better name for that. That sounds so... Like, I've said that so many times today. Because it's not the end of A Realm Reborn, and it's not the beginning of Heavensward. It's this weird thing in between. Anyway... Where am I? Oh, I'm lost. I'm gonna at least get to the house. I will see what's up. But, yeah, we're definitely ending soon. So, thank you everyone for... What the... Where am I? Oh, okay. No, that's not right. Oh, no, this is a mess. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining this. It's cool, like... I've kind of missed streaming Final Fantasy XIV. I did it so much last year. Like was it last year? I don't know. It was previously on the channel. I streamed a lot of Final Fantasy XIV. That's why my you know, highlight reel is mostly Final Fantasy XIV.
Is it just me, or is the air up here different? You can almost smell the wealth and power. God, it's making me feel faint.
To look upon the splendor of these heights, one would little suspect the ruin wrought by the wyverns below. Yeah. You're a person, right? You're like a real person? Yeah. I was like, can I talk to you? The Warrior of Light and her brave companions walking the streets of Ishgard at last. What a glorious sight. You're not wrong about the at last part. I cannot tell you how long I have waited for this day. Allow me to present to you my family home, Fortom Manor. I should like nothing more than to show you around, but everyone is gathered to receive you. Come, my friends, introductions must be made. Okay, it's going right into a cutscene. I did not expect that, actually. Cool. At the end of this cutscene, we're calling it.
My lord, I have returned with the Scions.
I hope your journey was not too taxing. I, Count Edmond de Fortom, do bid you welcome. As wards of House Fortom, you shall be afforded every courtesy. My home is your home.
My companions and I are deeply honored, Count Fortom.
The honor is mine, Master Alphino. Consider it an expression of our gratitude for your service to Ishgard.
Forgive me, my lord, but are you not concerned? To accept foreign guests at such a juncture, especially ones with our reputation.
Do not worry yourself on my account. 'Tis true that Ishgard's first thought has ever been the war effort, hence the closing of our borders. Yet it is in troubled times most of all that men should seek allies. Don't you think? Granted, my decision will have raised eyebrows in the vault and in the halls of the other high houses. But so long as you continue with your altruistic endeavors, I doubt my honored peers will feel moved to voice their concerns.
Okay. So we're, like, expected to just do good for the sake of doing good. Alright, sure.
Then there is naught to fear.
Yeah, we will do
Though our
that.
numbers are much reduced, we are no less determined to carry on our work.
Yeah.
Full glad am I to hear it. But before you return to your labors, why not take a tour of the city? You would do well, I think, to acquaint yourselves with your new surroundings. After all, you may be here for some time.
Yeah. And that brings us here. We did it. I think that's the perfect time to call it. That's exactly it. Just acquaint yourself with your surroundings. Well, thank you everyone for showing up. I've been Darcy Bits. This has been Final Fantasy XIV. No longer a Realm Reborn. It has like a weird nickname, right? It's like a Realm Awoken or something. I don't know. I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't know how much I'm going to stream it. I really wanted to stream that end card because I knew it was just like just a bunch of cutscenes. And honestly, a lot of this game is not very interesting to stream. It's just walking around and doing stuff. But the cutscene stuff is actually really fun to stream. So I'm glad I was able to record it. And yeah, this will be up on YouTube. YouTube, it'll be... you should also go back, if you're on YouTube right now, go watch my streams. Alright. Have a good night, everyone.